The movie is set in a dystopian future, where the population is controlled through centralized computer systems and android police officers. It is strictly illegal to engage in sexual intercourse, and the citizens are force-fed certain mind-altering drugs to inhibit their passions. The use of narcotics is mandatory for ensuring compliance among the citizens, as well as their ability to perform highly dangerous and difficult tasks for extended periods of time. The working inhabitants wear a white uniform. Likewise, the android police wear black, and the monks wear hooded robes. Everyone has shaved heads to promote uniformity, and the concept of family and emotions is forbidden. Rather than using names, each person is designated a random set of 3 letters and 4 digits, which they must wear on their person as an identity badge at all times. Everyone worships a godlike deity called OMM0000, whom they connect with almost every day in confession booths called the unichapels. After every confession or concern, OMM ends the session in his soothing voice with these words: "You are a true believer. Blessings of the state, blessings of the masses. Work hard, increase production, prevent accidents, and be happy." At the beginning of the movie, 2 of the workers at the Central Video Control Centers, LUH 3417 and SEN 5241, monitor everyone and keep surveillance on the city. Their job is to ensure proper drug intake and smooth workflow, and to report any prohibited activity. LUH notices an accident in a sector where her male roommate THX 1138 works. It is a factory that manufactures androids, who are later used as police officers. The process involves the handling of hazardous and radioactive explosives, which is why mandatory medication is enforced, so the workers comply. In fact, those who falter in their daily drug intake are arrested, and often the daily dosage is increased in the facade of enhancing the workers' safety. When THX ends his shift, the voice on the loudspeakers congratulates the workers on only losing 195 workers recently, as opposed to an accident in a competing factory where the death toll reached 242. When THX heads toward home, he decides to confess at the Uni Chapel, where he says his initial salutation, muttering words like masses and party. Then he mentions how he slipped at the thermal transfer that morning because he wasn't concentrating enough. He also believes that his roommate has been acting quite strange recently, even though he cannot explain it. Actually, THX isn't wrong about his mate's different behavior. The daily surveillance forces LUH to notice the disturbing reality they live in, and she makes a conscientious decision to stop taking her daily drugs, which is severely punishable by law. Anyway, once THX is done confessing, a voice comes from the portrait of OMM who repeats his signature dialogue, and THX leaves. Once THX gets home, he takes his daily drugs and watches holobroadcasts while entertaining himself with a masturbatory device. LUH seizes the moment and secretly replaces TX's pills with inactive ones that she has in her possession. As he flips through the holograms, LUH realizes how they are being trained and brainwashed. She ensures he takes the new pills along with his food. The changed drugs cause THX to experience nausea, real emotions, and sexual desire for the first time in his life. He confesses his anxiety regarding LUH in the Uni Chapel. Once again, the computerized voice of OMM repeats the same dialogue, and THX leaves for home, where he passes out in front of a surveillance camera. LUH covers for him and helps him to the bed. Once he wakes up, she shares everything and they connect with each other, eventually leading to sex. LUH worries that the surveillance team might be watching them, but THX reassures her. However, he is wrong, as they are indeed being monitored. Knowing that their relationship is illegal, THX has 2 choices. Either he can go back to his prescribed drugs, which are necessary for his work nature, or he can cherish his relationship with LUH. She worries that he might end up reporting LUH for her drug violation. Nevertheless, he chooses to carry on the same way as he does not want to lose LUH. She suggests that they could escape to the superstructure, where they could live a better life. In the next scene, we see a police robot malfunctioning in a corridor. Just as THX is about to leave for his last shift before they escape, LUH informs him that Sen, her superior, has ordered a shift exchange. THX claims it is illegal and asks her to file a report against SN. Later, when he returns to his room, he finds SN has moved in with him as his new roommate. He says that he has reprogrammed LUH to another sector and asks THX to share his thoughts with him. When THX gets a chance, he lodges a complaint against SEN for violating the computed living program. After that, he heads to work but is unable to perform properly due to the absence absence of drugs in his system. When he messes up at a critical phase of android construction, the control center detects diminished levels of sedatives in his body and hence puts him in a temporary mind lock. This only increases the chances of disaster at the site, so they release him from the mind lock, and he is able to make the necessary changes timely to avoid a huge accident. In the next scene, THX is arrested for his drug violation, and once the authorities learn about his romantic affiliation with LUH, they charge him with sexual perversion too. At his trial, the defendant proves that THX was clinically born, so it would be counterproductive to eliminate him. Instead, they send him for medical analysis and drug therapy. Inside the prison, which resembles an unending white abyss, the enforcer robots condition him through a series of tormenting examinations and tests. One day, right after a harrowing session, THX is overjoyed to see LUH walking toward him in his limbo. After they embrace, she tells him that she is expecting his child. Overjoyed, they have sex again, but are soon discovered by enforcer robots, who take them both away. THX is then put in a new prison limbo, where he sees a lot of other prisoners, including Sen. He knows THX is the one who turned him in, but he still lets him in on his plan of escaping the prison. Though THX disapproves of Sen initially, he gives in and decides to find an exit with Sen, while the other prisoners seem uninterested, including an outer shell dweller called Wookiee. Sen and THX keep walking but fail to find an exit. After some time, they come across a former hologram actor, SRT-5752, who guides them to the exit, suggesting that they might have been walking in circles all this time. As the trio escapes the limbo, SN is separated from THX and SRT. Regardless, they all keep making efforts to escape. When the authorities learn about the escape, they set up a budget of 14,000 credits to capture the fugitives. Android police chase SRT and THX, and they end up being trapped inside a control center. There, THX learns that LUH had been declared incurable and hence consumed, with her number allocated to fetus 66691 in one of the growth chambers. SRT finds bodies with their organs removed. It is also revealed that OMM never existed. All those responses played in the uni chapels were merely pre-recorded phrases. On the other hand, Sen comes across an area with restricted access, only available to the monks of OMM. When Sen is done praying to the portrait of OMM, a lone monk finds him and notices he is missing his identification badge. Before the monk can report him, SN attacks the monk and walks away, finding his way inside a child rearing area. There, he talks to children, until police officers see and arrest him. Meanwhile, SRT and THX steal 2 cars and try to get away. SRT has some problems figuring out how to drive the car, and when he crashes into a concrete pillar, it disables his car. This is the last of what we see of SRT. As for THX, he is pursued closely by 2 android officers on motorbikes until he reaches the end of the city through the underground road network. When he crosses a construction site on the expressway, he abandons his car to find a way out to the surface. On his way, he is attacked by some creatures, but he remains undeterred until he reaches the vertical shaft with an escape ladder. As he climbs the ladder, the android officers follow suit. Suddenly, they are called back by the Central Command, as the expense of his capture exceeds the budget they had set initially. As a last attempt to get THX to surrender, one of the officers tells THX that the land beyond the city shell is uninhabitable, but THX pays no heed until he reaches the end of the ladder. In the last scene, it is shown that the city where THX came from was actually underground, and THX witnesses birds flying in the sky as the sun begins to set. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our recap. Watch the next videos on the screen and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.